Hey everyone, it's the Four Gun Guy, and I want to do a video today on a stage I shot in a match, and it was a very strange stage, and probably one of the most unsafe stages I've ever shot in a match. And this was at a match that was supposed to be very safe. But anyway, we'll get to that. Uh, the stage was using a tripod with a saddle, like this one, or a clamp. And let's do this. I'm going to go over kind of the stage brief. I left it at home, but I remember it. And some of the intricacies of how we had to shoot this thing. So if you're ready to go, let's get to it. Well, this was a stage at the Rifles Only match in South Texas, and it was a great match. I enjoyed it. I'll probably shoot it again next year. But this stage just screwed so many guys up. I couldn't believe how many people just failed at this stage. I think I had 4 or 5 impacts out of 10, maybe, which was a really good score for that stage. Let's talk about it. So here's what you walked up to. You walked up to a stage that had a tripod set up just like this, right, with a saddle or clamp here. And it might have been a tad lower than this, but it was about this height, close to this. And you could do one of two things. You could either use their tripod, which was a 2 vets with the long, long legs. That's why I say it was a little shorter than this. And to them, they had declared that that tripod was fully deployed. If you used your tripod, you had to fully deploy your tripod on the clock. Okay? So these are 105-second stages. So you may sit there and go, well, okay, I could have it, I could deploy this thing pretty quickly if I had to. Here's the kicker to this stage. Once the buzzer goes off, the rifle goes in the clamp, you tighten down the clamp. Your chamber flag is out, but your magazine is not in the rifle. Once you're here, once you've put the rifle in, this hand goes away. You cannot use your left hand for anything, or your right hand if you're left-handed. You now have to load the magazine, run the bolt, and steady yourself on the target with just one hand. It was bizarre. Now, let's go over how I saw people shoot this thing and how they failed. The tripod had to be retracted, and you had to start with everything in your hand. Now, once the buzzer went off, you could set your rifle down, which is what most guys did. Here's what I saw. Buzzer goes off. They set their rifle down, and then they do this, right? Makes sense. They're starting to tighten the legs. They're tightening the legs. They're getting it to where they want it to be. They're getting it to where they want it to be. Some of them had some pretty quickly detachable or setups. They set the tripod there. They got the rifle into the tripod. Stop. Let's see how long this took. Okay, I'm going to pause here, and I want to put on the screen how long just me doing this took. Okay? The second piece of this equation was the second they put their rifle in this and they tighten this down, as I said, this hand goes away. Now, if you didn't set this ball or whatever you're using properly, you're screwed, because I saw rifles do this. Guys were doing this. One hand, I can't use my left hand. And now they're here, and now they're loading the magazine. They're trying to keep the rifle steady. Now they're trying to stay on target, run the bolt, come back down, tried to take a shot. Okay, I can tell you, I saw some really good shooters. I know they're good shooters. I saw some of them time out on this without ever firing a shot. In 105 seconds, they didn't fire a round. And you talk about someone being depressed coming off that stage like that. It was depressing to watch. And here's what I figured out as I watched it, because luckily I was going to be the first shooter on this stage. And so I got there early to see what everyone was doing and what it was all about. So let's talk about my thought process and how I shot it. Now, I want to say the two vets tripod that they had that they said was deployed was about this high. And it had a saddle on it, clamp, and it had, I think it had a ball head. It wasn't like this, but it was very similar to this. They let you play around with it before you shot. So if someone wasn't using it, you could take it off to the side. I think you could even put your rifle in it. And so with that being said, I just started playing with the adjustments to get this ball to where I could move it if I had to, but it wasn't super tight or super loose. And I wanted to make sure that once it was locked in here, that it wouldn't fall over. It couldn't fall over, right? And that can't. But I can still kind of move it, swivel it. I loosened up the swivel on the head a little bit. So I played around with it to make sure that it could do the things I needed it to do. One of my buddies said, "Oh, that's too low. You're going to be bending over." And I was like, I just watched guys time out on this thing without sending a shot or getting two shots off. I don't care how low it is. I want to get on the rifle and I want to start shooting at the target, right? That's the part I want to get on. So that's what I did. Now let me do this. Let me turn on my trigger cam because I want to show you the difference here. We're going to do some dry firing first. And what I want to show you is how fast I could get on the target and not waste the time of deploying my own tripod. Then I want to say, let's kind of look at dry firing and how stable you can be with your right hand or your left hand in use, and how stable you can be without your left hand in use. So let's look at that. Let's look at how stable we can be with if we could have used our left hand the whole time, right? So let me get that. I'm recording, I believe. So let me get down here. I'm going to use my left hand on my bridge. I'm going to stabilize my rifle, and I'm looking at target W. I'm going to run the bolt, and you can see I'm not super stable. I'm talking, but at least I can, and I'm not the stablest of shooters anyway, but I can kind of settle in on the target somewhat, right? Let's take the left hand away. Here we go. Left hand's away. Running the bolt with my right hand. Trying to stabilize. Dancing. See that? See that difference? That's what you were up against trying to hit that target. And screwing with the tripod for 30 seconds or however long it was before you did that, I didn't want that. I didn't want my heart pounding from trying to set up a tripod and make this thing work. So let's look at it now. Let's send some rounds down range with just the right hand. We'll run it the way it would have been run at the match. Okay, let's see. Oh, and by the way, this target that I'm shooting at is about 150 yards further than the target at the match. So we'll see how we do. Okay, here we go, right? Everything had to be in hand. I had their tripod. The buzzer went off, tripod's down, rifle goes in. I cannot load a magazine. I have to tighten this thing down, which is going to take a little time. Once it's tightened down, he will say hand off. And now my hand is off. Oops, my hand is off. I have to load this with this. Now there was a wall in front of this, and I made sure that it was low enough so I could, if the rifle did go forward, it would hit that wall. So here we are. My left hand is out of the picture. I'm not hitting it at all, am I? Let's see. There we go. I think the wind died on me. I think that's it. Nope, one more. Let's see. Impact. Okay, so there it was, one-handed. So I had this thing set. You notice I was canted, right? I could see that in the scope. I was canted. So I should have corrected for that. But I'm going to lock this thing down so it doesn't fall out. But the point here is I was able to get all my shots off in the time allotted. And that was the key. The key was just get your shots off. Don't screw around with the tripod. So something to think about. That's what some of these matches will throw this stuff at you, right? They'll throw you something that you're going to sit there and start wrapping your head around it when maybe you should just look at what they're presenting you and saying, I'll just use that, right? I'll just use what they gave me and I'll work around it, get on it fast, get on the target faster, and concentrate on my shots. So anyway, hope this one helped. Don't know if you'll ever run into this in a match. You will run into using a tripod with a clamp or saddle. So you might want to get used to that, right? Get used to steadying this, how you're going to steady it. You got your tripod here. I'm stabilized this. I'm down on here, and I'm trying to just, right, just get it down. All right. Well, I hope that helped. Thanks for watching, everyone. And until next time, shoot straight.